digital world and eliminates the archaic need for these grown-ass babysitters known as lawyers that pretty much do nothing.
They make money to lawyer.
They make
They're
money to argue a case for humans that pay them money. There are human beings that require this. I'm not saying all lawyers are bad. I'm just saying the majority of lawyers do not need to exist in order for the good lawyers to be paid the appropriate wages that are required versus the bad lawyers that simply should not exist.
Right.
It's a complete overpopulation of a certain career. It's a career that became pretty much routine and systemic amongst people who are adverse to risk, and they want their children to have a stable paycheck.
They want,
and they can easily, parlay their income.
Of life.
It's not just the monotony of life, it's living through other people's misery. The monotony of life can exist in a very beautiful, harmonious fashion. There's a lot of people, like I said, my in-laws are some of them. Like, there's a lot of people that really enjoy like going to Costco or like they do. I think they do bocce and things like that, and those are beautiful things. And they've been together.
Like the Italian.
It's a ball. That's shuffleboard. You're
bocce.
Oh, that's how I think you were doing like shuffleboard. But the point of what I'm saying is that.
What are you saying?
Well, what I'm saying is that it's time to really ignore the global narrative and really focus on America as a country. We've really done a great job by systemically shifting the focus away from ourselves and onto problems of the world that really...
What can humanity do to change?
Forget about humanity. Let's talk about New Jersey. Forget about humanity.
What can New Jersey do?
First and foremost, New Jersey needs to do a complete audit of their entire political structure, as well as a cleansing of any human being that is not worthy of their office.
Who makes this decision?
It's very interesting that you say that. There's something called a digital vote that needs to be brought on ASAP. And New Jersey is really primed to be the first state to really bring that transparency forward, because New Jerseyans on a political spectrum really are a joke, because in order to be elected into public office, a massive amount of conservatives masquerade themselves as liberal Democrats in order to garner the vote of the inner city, the minorities, and various other large pockets of voting groups.
Okay.
And that's where the line really needs to shift, where a political audit needs to really be the groundwork to say, okay, we're currently running on a bipartisan platform. Like, are you really a Democrat, or are you pretending to be a Democrat so that you can get the Passaic County vote? And that's really like the first step. And look, there are people that believe in certain things, but law enforcement traditionally, it's very difficult to just simply agree with an agenda that hates you. It's impossible for us as a generation to completely forget the amount of media articles that smeared law enforcement, to have, the leadership of the brass pretty much abandon certain individuals during a time where it was very convenient to throw law enforcement officers under the bus. So I'm not pro that, and police can't do their jobs. And the answer is very simple: cleansing, audit. And that process will take about 6 years.
I was going to say, that doesn't sound like an overnight.
It's not. I'll give you an example, okay? We live in a state that the governor has completely escalated the national conversation regarding illegal immigrants. I don't know if you know this, but Governor Phil Murphy is currently publicly housing an illegal alien in his home.
Oh, I don't know this.
Yeah, this is a true story, but it doesn't make the headlines because it is just a seedling of a really, really bad reaction that can happen that puts a lot of really good people at risk. For example, what Governor Murphy is failing to realize is that whether or not his goal is to incite fear and anger amongst his constituents, not only is he doing that, on both sides. Mathematically, by making a statement like this, you're not actually helping anyone except yourself, because Governor Murphy is a very wealthy man. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars, and he could set up a warehouse, shelter, and a bunch of other things that he could have used his money for.
Right.
But never did he do that one time.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing, because if you
It's
really
like
want
fake altruism.
it's politics. And that's where it comes from. It comes from the concept that even Bob Menendez, at his sentencing, as he's crying that he's this good man, kept pointing out to these public deeds that he did. Smile for the camera.
Wait, that was so funny. He like talked about that whole thing that he like stayed late and like cleaned the floor, and the judge was like, "Yeah, I saw the photo op you did."
Yeah, I saw the photo op. And he's like, and
I was like, "Oh, burn!"
I mean, like, it's just like,
it's time for the burn.
well, the judge was right. I mean, like,
was.
it's not a political thing. That's where this entire narrative really goes off the rails, is because we really are used to a person being on both one side. And like, even in Menendez's statement on the way out, he's like, Trump was right. This place really is corrupt. You are the most corrupt motherfucker of them all. Are you fucking insane? Do you have any idea of what it took to take this guy down? It is unbelievable.
Right.
Like, everything is true. There's a lot more. Like, one of the reasons why the public cannot see the narrative is that the amount of tentacles that it affects is really quite nauseating.
Yeah.
And when we look at the reality that we're dealing with a person like Judge Salas, who experienced a really horrible personal loss from a defendant who felt so lost and mentally ill that they dressed up as a FedEx driver to not only cause her harm, but left her son dead.
Yeah.
Yet she not only continued to take the bench, which I will save my opinion for off camera, because I think that unless you walk a mile in a person's shoes, you really don't know anything about them. And it's such a sensational story that, like, all parts of my brain go towards only thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And at no time can I even comprehend that these people didn't give a fuck about their son's memory and what it would do to all the hard work that they and the people that believed in them put in to create Daniel's Law. But going forward, Daniel's Law will be remembered for this, for the memory of a guy that said all citizens should have private protection, not personal police detail 24/7. That is a police state that is non-digital. It's an analog world. If a human being really wants to do harm, they'll do harm to whatever law enforcement officer is in front of you, as well as, it's not like she has an army in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you can't be living in plain sight. You're just a liability for everybody, because clearly you're not able to manage the expectations of the courtroom, as well as the mental health aspect of what's required, because a lot of people forget that human beings go through trauma. And I personally, for one, think that there's a very, very, very big problem with the system in New Jersey that continuously allows people who, just like Judge Salas, experience massive amounts of personal trauma to continue in a supposedly neutral environment without having an agenda.
I agree.
It's wrong on so many levels, and we are dealing with dozens of human beings that are criminals, completely masquerading themselves as regular lawyers and judges, and they're complete psychopaths. They're complete psychopaths, and some of them are going to go to federal prison, some of them are not, but they're all going to be outed one by one by one. So at this time, there's nothing I can do, because I was robbed by my mother of $6 million. But just because Judge Salas was doing, when Fred Davies fraud against me, she suppressed everything that I've been saying about my mother, Mark Rhesus, and other criminals that have simply gotten away with a massive amount of fraud, all because Jim Salakian, he's there. He's just really old and probably going to be dead by the time this actually gets spun out. I mean, Jim Salakin's been 88 for the last 8 years. So, I don't know, he's probably in his mid-90s or something. Anyways, that's what old people do. They die. And that's a line from old school, not something that I'm interested in. I am interested in resolving these issues. I'm interested in Judge Salas bringing me into the courtroom and giving me an explanation about what her relationship is with Fred Davies and Bob Menendez and how she can continuously pretend like I'm not sending letters in, making YouTube videos, freaking out.
Yeah.
And you and I look like fools. Well, not anymore, obviously. I think that, unfortunately, I'm going to have to make an analogy because I had this whole thing planned about how, agents are in place, warrants are set, no one goes in until I say so, I haven't said so, everyone stay calm. But they blow their load last night and go in and I'm like, what? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Just chill out. There's a public crisis of trust with law enforcement. So that being said, I want to wrap this up in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you really want to add? Because I only can do one good take today, since I really can't stress the mental trauma that I have to deal with in knowing that everything I was talking about on YouTube, I was right about.
It's real. It's real.
It's not even a conspiracy anymore.
It's 100% not only
real.
That, how it
It's not a theory anymore.
It is traumatizing how you have had to go through this in the legal system and how traumatizing this is.
It's
unreal.
Unreal.
To be buried and gone on for so long, and it's how long can a human being continue this way while you're, just shuffling my papers to the bottom of a pile, ignoring that I exist.
They're deleting them and
it doesn't matter.
Shredding them and ignoring everything and wasting taxpayer money by masquerading themselves as neutral parties. And I heard Judge Stein, that's a real judge. He's like,
yeah.
What are you doing, dude? Where have you
He did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, there's actual good humans out there, and the prosecutors in the cases did a really good job, and the New Jersey prosecutor will eventually get their shit together, and the Davies, the federal New Jersey. The point is that there's good people out there, Jamie. I do what I do for, and I'm really fat right now, so for anyone who really wants to pile on the dog shit,
we're just gonna have to get fit for spring.
I don't know, I'm just so fat. I saw myself in this press conference. Oh God, just bloated.
It's been a long winter. We've been hibernating.
I know, but that sandwich from Milburn Deli was
really
so
good. Milburn Deli, always the best.
So good. Anyway, so essentially, I just wanted everyone to know that's watching this that I am very cognizant, I'm very responsive. There's just a massive amount of weight that comes with crossing the finish line and sacrificing so many years of your life only to rewind it and say, wow, I should have been filming 10 times more content. I should have been screaming at the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
And what are people going to listen now? How many high-ranking officials have to go to federal prison before the American public starts to listen to what I have to say? And what I have to say is really important. I talk so much, but the words are all relevant if you have a brain. And if you don't have a brain, then please look within your heart and find some form of altruism within the content and the context of what I say. Realize that really it's within yourself to do something. And even if you just subscribe to this channel or pass it around, at this time, I do want people to listen.
Yeah.
Because I've already done my job.
Right.
I went in front of the world. I have Al Jazeera with my picture painted on it. Yeah, this is the man! What? How am I in the middle of this? And that's the whole point of why in the world of sports, the sideline reporter, they're like, we got some bad news. Saquon Barkley broke his leg in the first minute. It's always a female. because the American public cannot handle bad news from a dude, and they don't want to hear the play-by-play. There's no women that really do play-by-play. It's really a man's game on that one. But like if you need to like some horrible news, like if you put like $4 million on Saquon Barkley to rush for like 40 yards, you know, like a tiny minimal nothing. And like in the first minute of play, it looks like Saquon had a 350-pound lineman fall on his left leg, severing multiple bones and ending his career. Back to you, Chuck. And you know, you just like, oh my God. And like, well, at least
Saquon's gonna crush
you know, like what, like a heterosexual man thinks.
Saquon's gonna crush it, by the way.
Well, I know
you didn't say that.
I know you're a big Saquon
I
fan.
am a big fan.
I think he's a good guy. You know, you know
what it is?
It's the MC
People
Hammer
counted him
era.
down and out. They just like didn't know. I knew he was gonna have this.
You know, America loves.
And America loves a comeback story,
There
and
it
I
is.
think he is crushing it.
Yeah, I always have to remind myself that being a running back in the NFL is like being in a car accident 20 to 30 times per game for about an 18-game schedule, and that's if you suck. If you're good, you go on to more car accidents.
Yeah.
It's a very physically traumatic.
Yeah.
And physical trauma is something
It's a
that
real
it's a real thing, but
Yeah.
we as a society have really accepted as, ooh, yeah, this is not good, but
You just got so sidetracked.
yeah, Jamie,
You made me look away.
I carefully monitor everyone that comes from the vicinity of my property, and it was just an interesting. Anywho, Jamie,
Yes.
what are your predictions for the Super Bowl? I want to end this on a light note. You know,
Okay, sure.
Going from judges and politicians defrauding 8 million citizens and being outed in
So
public.
I'm really conflicted about my Super Bowl. So I don't
Who's
like
playing?
the Eagles,
You don't.
but I
them.
like Saquon Barkley.
Oof.
Okay.
You really.
I had a bad experience at the Eagles game. I thought the Eagles fans were not nice. They were very unfriendly.
Oh, this actually happened? I thought you like put some money on.
No. And I just have a bad
You're penchant.
Very not a classy place.
What were you doing there?
I was there for a game.
For an Eagles game?
For a Giants-Eagles game.
Oh, so you were like, did you wear Giants stuff?
I don't think I did, but I think
There were people.
someone else did. But
Did
we
you
were
eat
with
a-
Eagles fans.
Did you eat a cheesesteak?
Eagles fans, you know quite well.
I do.
And the fans were very rude, and they like yelled at like this little boy. Some a little boy had a Giants jersey on, and like some grown man yelled at him, and I was like, not cool. So, but the Chiefs are just overplayed. Like I'm so sick of hearing about Taylor Swift's boyfriend and like football. It's like bleh. I just want like a real football team to win.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley, I guess I want. So the Eagles, I guess.
Okay. Any score predictions?
I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. So like
High score.
33-36 Eagles.
33-36. All right. I think it's funny that like there's this whole side of you that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Because you're like you're both a boy and a girl mom,
That's
so it's
true.
I think that the boys probably talk about sports and.
I can never remember anyone's name really.
Should I be worried about
But it
your
was funny,
obsession with Saquon? Like, what if he needs an assistant? Do I need to like, you know, Jamie? I think Saquon could probably kick my ass like multiple times. Like, I'm not like I don't like. I'll fight for your honor, sort of, but like I don't fight your honors.
I'm just saying. I picked him for my fantasy team, and
How did you do in that league?
terrible. I think I came in dead last.
The truth always comes out on this YouTube channel. Just remember.
Dead last.
Yeah. So, what? Can we go back to me having to worry about Saquon Barkley?
Yeah.
Like, is there like, you know, you have this great laugh, everything's great,
Yeah.
but is this?
You know,
Like, what if Tiki Barber? He lives around the
I like
corner.
rooting for the guy who's down and out. You know better than anyone.
But I'm still down and out. So Saquon Barkley's going to the Super Bowl and like we'll get
So
some
watch
bonuses.
out, world. Let's watch
Like-
and see what happens to Dan Reeses.
Yeah, like people are like, oh my god, he only got $30 million for 2 years, and it's like, what? Like, what's wrong with the plumbers that like work their asses off and like, man, Saquon, you really deserve more. Okay, $30 million. Taxes, agent fees. Let's say it's probably like 8 to 10 million a year after everything, probably less even, but that's still more than enough in order to live a modest lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like his earring. I think that, and then
But like with that being said, with football players, I mean, it is a physical thing, and like once they leave their